So today's aim is what type of media makes up the historical record? What is today's aim? All right, so today in social studies, we are going to look at the types of media that make up the historical record. We're going to start off today by looking at some vocabulary, and then we are going to look at a list of the 5 types of media that make up the historical record. So, the green word is an old word we already know, but we're going to review it. Let's let this fire truck go past real quick. Okay, so the historical record is the collection of documents, stories, and artifacts that historians use as evidence. That's an old word. The new word for today is media. And media is recorded human thought. It can be recorded any way you want. It can be written down. It can be recorded like on video or on audio. It can just be told again and again and again by so many people that it doesn't get forgotten. So I want you to think about this. Recorded human thought includes YouTube videos, it includes movies, it includes books, it includes newspapers and magazines. What is one type of media you use? All right. Now we're going to look at a list of 5 types of media. The oldest type of media is oral tradition. This is stories and knowledge that are passed down by word of mouth. That means one person told it to another person who remembered it. So once again, the oldest type of media is oral traditions. Oral traditions are stories and knowledge passed down by word of mouth. Word of mouth is when one person tells another person something and that person remembers it. What is word of mouth? All right. So, visual arts started at almost the same time as oral tradition. It might not be as old, but it's almost as old. And this includes statues, paintings, drawings, and other representations. So a representation is just something that shows something else. So it can be a painting, a statue, a drawing, a carving, like anything that shows something else. So these cave paintings here are representations of animals. What is one example of visual art? So the next type of media we have came about a long time after oral tradition and visual arts. It is called written records. And you can see right here, this is Maya from Mesoamerica, from the part of the world that is now Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico, even parts of the United States. And he's writing records. He is writing things down on paper or on stone, in this case on paper. And our definition for written records is ideas shared using images to represent sounds or words. So you can have letters that represent sounds the same way we do, or you can just have a picture that represents a whole word, and that still counts as a written record. Why do you think written records might be really important for historians? So the same way there was a long time between oral tradition and visual arts and the written record, there was a long time between the start of the written record and audio recordings. Audio recordings are playable records of sounds from the past, including music. And these didn't start until the late 1800s, early 1900s. So these only got started about 100, 120 years ago. And the biggest change with this was when something was written down, you couldn't hear the way someone said it. You couldn't hear if they put an emphasis on certain words. You couldn't hear their accent. If they were singing a song, you could only read it. You couldn't hear them sing it. With audio recordings, all of this changed. And right here, you see American Indian chief recording his story onto this. It's called a phonograph. It's like an early record player, if your parents have any record players. And so you can hear his story in his voice. Once again, the biggest difference between audio recordings and the written record is you could hear people's story in their own voice. What was the biggest change between audio recordings and the written record? And around the same time we got audio recordings, we got video recordings. Video recordings are playable records of sounds and moving images from the past. And video recordings are a really big deal because we can actually see and hear at the same time what things were like in the past. Now, there's still ways to cheat with video and to doctor it, so make it look real when it's not, and we'll talk about that. But video was a major step forward for recording media. Of the 5 types of media we've talked about, oral tradition, visual arts, written records, audio recordings, and video recordings, which one is your favorite? Why? All right, that's it for today.